Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm coming to you from the aircraft viewing area at the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. Now, as you know, if you watch my channel very often, my channel is primarily an aviation channel and I'm starting off right at the airport, but today I'm going on a cruise ship and you're coming along with me. Actually, my cruise is tomorrow, but I'm so excited about it that I thought it was today. I just want to get on the cruise ship. What I'm really excited about is the beginning portion of the cruise, because from the cruise ship, I will be able to see arrivals and departures from the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. So I kind of just want to get a lay of the land by coming over here first and understanding the airport operations. Today, aircraft are coming in from over the ocean. They're landing towards the west. I don't know what the weather's going to be like tomorrow. We'll see, but I'll get a great view of the airport operations from the cruise ship itself. Of course, if you watch my channel, you know that I'm very, very comprehensive, providing lots of details from a unique point of view, and I intend to do that on this cruise also. Now, if you happen to have any time to kill before a flight, come to this spot at the airport. It is a great place to watch aircraft. It's actually better when aircraft are landing in the opposite direction. That would be this way behind me, but due to the current winds, all aircraft are going in this direction, so we get a nice view of departures. Oh, this is great. There's a JetBlue aircraft that's taking off right behind me, and on the parallel runway, a Spirit Airlines aircraft. I'm liking this spot a lot. I'm looking forward to views like this of aircraft from the cruise ship itself. Runway 28 right is being used for both arrivals and departures today. And as you can probably tell from when I was talking into the camera, it's a windy day today. For me at least, this is the best place to be in the area. Oh, and if you're going to be flying to Florida before you cruise, make sure you do it the day before and spend the night. You never know what may happen if you fly the same day as your cruise. It's time for me to leave this aircraft spotting area and go to my hotel. What a view from up here. From my hotel room, I can see Port Everglades, the port I'll be leaving from tomorrow. I'm really enjoying Fort Lauderdale. And I'm enjoying the view of aircraft landing at FLL nearly right over Port Everglades, so close to the cruise ships. This is a Delta 757 coming in from Atlanta. The airport is really close to the cruise ship port, so if you fly in the same day for a cruise, you'll be at the port in a matter of minutes. But like I said, you should always fly in the day before. What if your flight gets canceled the day of the cruise? My hotel room faces the Intracoastal Waterway, but I took a walk down to the other side so I could see aircraft approaching FLL as they come in from over the ocean. It's the same approach that's been in use all day. I even got to see general aviation aircraft flying up and down the coast. All right, tomorrow is around the corner, and this celebrity reflection will be waiting for me, so let's say hello to Cruise Day. Cruise Day weather was better than the day before, and before I made my way to Port Everglades, I just had to check out the water that our massive cruise ship would be in later today. I can't wait for our departure out of Fort Lauderdale. We'll be passing right by those apartments over there as we head to the ocean. Well, it's time for the cruise. Directly behind me is the Celebrity Reflection. A little bit of an obstructed view, but I'm sure I'll have better views later. Let's go aboard. Here she is, the Celebrity Reflection, which will bring me and you on a 6-night cruise to Grand Cayman, Cozumel and Bimini. But this isn't going to be your average cruise ship journey, because with me, you'll have a complete sense of situational awareness and understanding of the where and why and when. Yes, you'll join me for dinner and activities, but this video, like my other past cruise ship videos, offers you a different way to look at cruising. Welcome aboard the Celebrity Reflection. My first stop is my stateroom, which has a balcony. I'm fortunate because I'll be spending a lot of time on the balcony, which provides an outward-facing view, so I'm aware of what's going on around me. All right, well, welcome to room 1023 aboard the Celebrity Reflection. I'm on the port side of the ship near the forward part on the same level as the bridge. Unlike an airplane seat, if I want to see what's going on the starboard side, all I need to do is go up a few decks and walk over to the other side. This is a standard balcony room with standard cruise ship amenities. The ship was launched in 2012 and is part of Celebrity's Solstice class. It's the final ship in that series. This ship can accommodate just over 3,000 passengers, but I'm not going to spend too much time in the room now because I want to head out to the other side of the ship to see what's going on the intracoastal side. Down at the bottom of the screen is the intracoastal waterway, and the Atlantic Ocean is just over the land. We're docked at Terminal 25, which is right on the intracoastal waterway. Once we move away from the dock, all of the boats passing by need to steer clear of us as we use our thrusters to move away from the dock toward the center of the channel. But wait, I'm distracted here. There goes a Spirit A320neo that just took off from Fort Lauderdale headed east. Yes, today the airport is in an opposite direction flow than yesterday, meaning the wind is coming from the ocean. We may have some wind resistance as we move sideways toward the ocean today. Here's a view of the intracoastal waterway looking toward the south down toward Miami. This is the direction that cannot accommodate cruise ships. The exit to the ocean is just north of here, and it's a really short distance. The entire intracoastal waterway system is 3,000 miles long. For more views of the intracoastal waterway by Palm Beach, check out my recent video where I get to fly right over it on takeoff while seated on the right side of the plane looking south toward where we are now. See that cruise ship out there? That's where we're headed, and as you can see, it's a very short distance to get out there. We'll pass by those apartment buildings on the way out. You'll recall I pointed out those buildings when I was on the beach earlier today looking south. Once we're at sea, which will occur rather quickly after leaving the pier, we'll be following the buoy system before entering completely free waters. Today we have a 3:30 departure time, and our first destination will be Grand Cayman after a full day at sea. Let's listen to some of the captain's first announcements to us.
At this time, I'd like to give you a brief overview of my captain's log, and we're getting ready to depart to our first port of call, Georgetown in Grand Cayman. Georgetown is located 670 nautical miles, or 771 land miles, south of our current position. Once exiting Port Everglades, we will set initially to southwesterly courses and later on to southeasterly courses. And I plan to arrive to the approaches of Georgetown the day after tomorrow at about 6 o'clock in the morning and have the vessel ready for tendering operations no later than 7 o'clock. The weather for this evening is predicted to be with the northeasterly winds up to 15 knots. And seas reaching up to 5 feet or 1.5 meters. The air temperature will be up to 77 degrees Fahrenheit or 25 degrees Celsius. And sunset tonight will be at 5:30 p.m. For tomorrow, the weather forecast shows mostly clear skies with easterly winds up to 20 knots and temperatures up to 81 degrees Fahrenheit or 27 degrees Celsius. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you will enjoy all of the wonderful celebrity activities that we have planned for you during the cruise.
Coffee?
And I will do my utmost to make sure you have an excellent overall great cruise experience. Once again, I'd like to welcome you on board. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you around the ship. In closing, I'd like to thank you for your kind attention. Please enjoy your first splendid evening aboard the beautiful Celebrity Reflection.
This shows our simple route out today. With our bow already facing north, all we have to do is proceed into the channel, head forward, turn right, and then we're in the ocean. It's departure time, and I've returned to my cabin so I can see all of the action down below. From here, I can see the bridge as they look down at the dockside to ensure that we don't hit the dock as our lines are removed and our thrusters move our ship away from the dock very slowly. We need to move away while being parallel to the dock, ensuring that all parts of the ship, stern and aft, move along at the same rate so we don't risk part of the ship hitting the dock. And remember, we've got wind coming from the other side of the ship trying to push us into the dock. And we're now underway from beautiful Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This is a great place for a cabin. Down below we can see how the water is being churned up. Now that our thrusters have moved us away from the dock, we can proceed forward, And as I take another look toward the sky, a departure from Fort Lauderdale climbs and head toward the sea, just like we'll be doing in a few minutes, although we'll stay at sea level. From this side of the ship, I get a great view of the main basin of Port Everglades, where the majority of ships dock in a rectangular body of water. It's a tight space, but somehow massive cruise ships like this are able to fit there. I'm looking forward to see how much of a tsunami, if any, we'll create today. Tsunami? Huh? There's no earthquake or bad weather predicted, so how could there be a tsunami? Every time I leave this port, I look out for an interesting phenomenon on this side of the ship. More on that in a moment. But first, everyone's holding just for us out there. We need to make a 90-degree turn from the intercoastal waterway to the inlet leading to the ocean, known as the Stranahan River, so all of the watercraft here at Port Everglades in an area called Lake Mabel have been instructed to wait for us to complete our turn before moving. I'm looking down and up. There's so much to see from the balcony. With a local pilot on board, we're starting a very slow turn to the right to wind up headed on an approximate 90-degree heading to head out to sea. It's a tight area, and this turn must be made with precision. Now, did you notice that our bow was already facing north when we got on board? This means that when the ship docked from its previous journey, the ship had to turn around and back into the dock, an even more complex procedure than our simpler turn to the right to get out. Earlier this morning, upon entry into Port Everglades from the sea heading west, the ship had to take advantage of Lake Mabel, the main part of the port, to maneuver around and proceed backwards. Unfortunately, most passengers don't get to experience that since it happens really early in the morning on the last day of the cruise, way before passengers have woken up. We're now headed east, with the ocean directly in front of us. Leaving this port is a quick procedure. We're passing by the harbor inlet neighborhood of Fort Lauderdale and looking at homes on Inlet Drive that have great water views. Down below, a pilot boat parallels us to later retrieve the local pilot on board who's in the bridge helping us navigate out to sea. And the Coast Guard is also keeping careful watch on our ship this afternoon. This is a narrow channel when a massive cruise ship occupies it. Our ship is just over 1,000 feet long and it's 123 feet wide. We're truly a city at sea, leaving a seaside city. This is my favorite part of the departure because not only do we get a great and close-up view of parts of Fort Lauderdale, the enthusiasm of the Fort Lauderdalians is amazing. Locals come out to wave and wish cruisers a bon voyage. The boaters are really friendly here too. Just before we reach the ocean, we pass by two iconic buildings, Sky Harbor East and Point of Americas, large condos with great views at the south end of Fort Lauderdale Beach. But what I find most fascinating about this area is the water. As large cruise ships pass by the water that you see up against the seawall, water is pulled out with the negative pressure from cruise ships' hulls, then is filled back in again once the ship passes by the area. This is known as the Fort Lauderdale tsunami, or mini tsunami, and is a very unique phenomenon. Let's take a look at what happens when our ship passes by. It's a slow process, but water is being pulled away from the beach as if the tide were going out. But you can also see that some waves are being created about 100 feet from the shoreline. This is created by our ship, and this is water that's returning to the shoreline, conflicting with water moving away. There are even people on jet skis out there trying to ride the waves for some fun. They know about this phenomenon and have specifically chosen to be here as a cruise ship was passing by. You'll often see people swimming in the water to get tossed around by those waves, but this isn't the case today. It's probably the safest fake tsunami to be in. Now, in all honesty, today's tsunami wasn't the biggest I've ever seen, but if you want to see more of them from the point of view of the beach itself, type in Fort Lauderdale tsunami in the YouTube search bar. And that, viewers, is the Fort Lauderdale tsunami. We are now at sea, and this side provides great views of the Fort Lauderdale beach area. This is a popular vacation area with many hotels and restaurants lining the beach. To get out with the pilot still on board, we follow the buoy system, keeping the red buoys on our left side while green buoys can be found on the other side of the ship. This keeps us in the shipping channel. Once we're out a little further, the local maritime pilot will disembark onto the pilot boat and we'll head out to sea with only the celebrity reflection crew in the bridge. Coming out further to the west affords you some more airplane views, like this Cutter A350 coming in from Doha, descending toward Miami International Airport, just south of Fort Lauderdale. And out there is a cruise ship that departed Fort Lauderdale just before us. It's always exciting leaving Fort Lauderdale, and we're looking forward to our next port of call, the Cayman Islands, after one full day at sea. To remember what the cruise plan is, I'll replay part of the captain's announcement from earlier regarding what happens when we leave the harbor.
Once exiting Port Everglades, we will set initially to southwesterly courses and later on to southeasterly courses. And I plan to arrive to the approaches of Georgetown the day after tomorrow at about 6 o'clock in the morning and have the vessel ready for tendering operations no later than 7 o'clock.
Back in my cabin, I can follow along where we are on a map, and the captain said that we'd head southwest, and that can only be accomplished after heading south. This TV channel will be the only channel I'll watch on the TV screen in my cabin, and I'll be referring to it a lot in this cruise series. It will help us have a sense of place as we move along in the Caribbean Sea. As it begins to get dark outside in the distance, I see Freedom of the Seas bound for Miami. As we begin our cruise, Royal Caribbean's Freedom of the Seas is ending its journey and will dock in Miami early tomorrow morning. And just behind me is another ship leaving the United States. This time it's the Carnival Celebration, bound for Puerto Plata. There's a lot of cruise ship traffic out here as we're outside two major cruise cities, Miami and Fort Lauderdale. And as we head further south, I'm able to spot air traffic bound for Miami. At first I thought it was a star, but the lower light is an Envoy Embraer 175 from San Juan to Miami. There's a world of travelers, not just on our ship, but on the ship out there and the plane above. All right, it's time for the first dinner tonight on the Celebrity Reflection. It's day one of the cruise. And take a look at the balcony behind me. When I showed you the balcony earlier, the balcony was a lot smaller, but I'm actually traveling with others in a room next door. So the cabin steward came by and opened up the divider between the two balconies. So now I have an extra large balcony here. I highly recommend that if you know the people in the cabin next door to have the steward open up the divider. It makes the space so much larger and you can easily access the neighboring cabin without having to go into the public hallway. It's getting late and I'm hungry, so I made my way through some of the public areas of the ship, like this central area, as I work my way to the Opus dining room. After a wait with the paging system, I finally sat down and carefully looked over the choices on the menu in this primary dining room, which is included with the cost of the cruise. After ordering, I took a look down into this large space as my table was on the upper level. And then the food arrived. I was seated at a table with several others, so what you see here isn't entirely what I ate. It's what many of us ate to close out the first night of this cruise while traveling just off of the Florida Keys. After dinner, I was ready for sleep, so I retired to my room to check out the map on my TV screen that showed us moving to the southwest like the captain said we would. We need to go around Cuba to get to Grand Cayman the day after tomorrow. After a long day, it was finally time to say goodnight and get ready for a full day tomorrow at sea. Coming up next on this channel, I'll take you inside the Celebrity Reflection as we work our way around the island nation of Cuba, navigating the seas and enjoying cruise nightlife as we head to the Cayman Islands.